What's up, Philadelphia sports fans? I am Anthony Pinto,
And I'm Keith Malachewski.
And I'm Kevin Christian.
and we are War Room Philly. That's right. It's a party, and I'm already fixing faces and props and stuff. So deal with me, chat. But we are War Room Philly. Welcome to the War Room. How's everyone doing out there? And how are you two guys doing?
I'm pretty good, though. I don't know why you're giving everybody our meeting Google link on Twitter, but
Oh,
I'm pretty good.
That's not what I wanted to do.
It's not. It's really not. As I quickly fix that with my own technical difficulties, now we have that one. So we've had an adventure so far tonight, to say the least.
Yeah.
Smooth sailing as always. Yeah, now people see my tweets. No, what I was supposed to do was tweet out the Facebook thing, but I realized because Keith couldn't get into the Google Hangouts, I had to resend it. But
like I said, I had a lot of technical difficulties.
Stun, what up? Stun in
Stun.
the chat. What up, Dennis? Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one tonight. We're gonna have to deal with that apparently for a little bit until the Google Hangouts goes away. That we're gonna just start a new one up. But we all make mistakes, and it's been had today. But we're gonna talk. It's a 4-for-4 show. Kevin is here as we're gonna recap what was a disappointing Flyers season. But we're gonna be talking Eagles football. The schedule has been dropped since the last time we've gone live.
That it has.
And we got Phillies talk, and it's our last show before the Sixers start the playoffs. And I wish I could be saying that we were talking Flyers playoffs as well, but nevertheless, I am so excited for this Sixers run. The number one seed, only the second time in the last 20 years that this team has done that. It's a feat that has been a slow build to get to this point, but it is by no means the final year of this thing. It's almost like version 2.0 just started, and now you got another 3-4 plus years of legitimate championship contention. So we hope. So we got Sixers, and we're gonna get the juices are already flowing for that. But first we'll talk a little Flyers.
That's the phrase you use. Okay.
We'll talk a little bit of everything. So yeah, it's out there. What games were you guys? Well, there was a ton of games on last night. Keith, right before you hopped in, Kevin and I were talking about this, and that's kind of why I just want to feel the flow out as we ease our way into this show. What games were you watching last night, chat? I open that to you and to you guys. If you Keith, if you were watching any, but Kev, I mean, I want to talk to you about that. Joe Hunter, thanks for the sub. But Keith, no, sorry, but Kev.
Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about this right before Keith hopped in. What games were you watching? Because we were talking about the play-in tournament and chat. That's a whole other can of worms that I want to get into, which is the NBA play-in tournament and why is it a thing? And of course, they got their way by having Curry and LeBron in one of those games. But the play-in tournament, which I boycotted because I'm anti-play-in tournament.
I am also anti-play-in.
Now, because, look, the 7th and 8th seeds never make runs in normal circumstances, right?
Normal circumstances.
And look, the Lakers were going to be the 7th seed anyway, and I'm sure Golden State was going to be the 8th seed anyway. So for the West,
Correct.
Nothing comes of it. And if the Lakers go on a run, which could happen, in fact, I saw that they opened up as the favorite, which is, I think, the first time ever that a 7 seed is a favorite in over the 2 seed in the NBA Finals.
Wow.
But just does that scare you as Sixers fans? 267 dropping the radio bucks. Yeah, bucks. No, but does that But as far as the Sixers go, luckily we play in the East. The East is a bag of garbage. I must use a different word. Still,
I would still argue that though that play-in tournament in the East is more exciting than the play-in tournament in the West as far as who is down there.
Neither of them are necessary, though. Can we all agree on that?
100%.
Is Keith about to try to make an argument for the play-in tournament?
No, I hate the play-in tournament, but I will say that I'm going to look at it right now because I forget the other one because that's how forgettable it ended up being for me. But I guess in the sense that, Charlotte has no business being there. The other three, one of them can make an argument of being the 8th seed. I mean, Boston, Washington, and Indiana all at least have some level of established talent. Charlotte has one player that's pretty damn good and one that's new and good. I just don't think that they have any business being in the 8th seed. So I guess what I'm saying here is I can see more of the excitement between the Boston and Washington game, and now the Pacers and Washington game, and I can see the excitement behind that. I still hate it because let's be honest, really at the end of the day, it's probably going to be Boston and Washington at the 7 and 8, which is what it should have been in the first place.
Yeah. Proving that this tournament is pointless. It's all it is a TV, cash grab, which is why
Absolutely.
I was trying my hardest, and I did. I'm glad, I'm proud of myself. Give him a little patsy on the back. I avoided those games. There was just too much NHL hockey to watch last night. I was watching my favorite for the Stanley Cup, the Colorado Avalanche. I think a preseason prediction as well to win the cup for me. And I was watching them, and I'm all about that team, man. Just watching them. I think I blinked 3 times, and it was 2-0 last night. Just a team that's out to win a cup for the first time in since the 90s?
2001.
2001, yeah. Which is basically the 90s. And there was that. You had a double overtime game. You had it was across the board last night. A lot of fun. The NHL playoffs. Let's face it, they bring it. Maybe the Flyers aren't in it, but they're still exciting to watch. Even with a bit of a different setup, even. What up, Murph? See you in chat. Bolts are fire right now. Ooh, yeah, that's a good point. The Bolts are still Tampa Bay. You can't count them out. Potential back-to-back for Tampa Bay. We will see. Again, my pick, I'm going Avalanche. I don't know who you guys are thinking or what you're thinking as far as the NHL playoffs go. But I say let's open it up and we'll talk some NHL playoffs for the night if you guys are on board with that.
Yeah.
I'm totally on board.
Chat's on board with that too, which is ultimately all that matters. Chat, I see, as Murph bringing in the Bolts point, which is it's good to think about. I have been just locked in on the West as I always am. As soon as the Flyers are irrelevant, I just immediately am like, okay, hockey starts at 10 o'clock now. And I get really excited for it too. And all throughout the year, I love the 10 o'clock, 10:30, puck drops. They're my favorite.
Do not.
You fall asleep to them. I don't like it for the Flyers, Keith. I'm with you on that. Like when it's my team and I have to watch with a certain intensity and vigor. But as far as I'm gearing down and I'm gonna fall asleep, oh man, throw that game.
Okay.
Throw on the Kings, Colorado, Avalanche or the Knights, and it's like there's just some good West Coast hockey games out there.
And
Do you still have that classic Avalanche jersey? Yeah, I do, and I want to get the reverse retro too. And that Nordiques jersey still fits even. Still fits. Shout out to me. Yeah, the hockey jerseys are a bit more forgiving than the football jerseys. That's the one thing I've learned. But yeah, I do. I love me that Nordiques. I got the T-shirt. I thought about rocking it, but then Jamie, shout out to Jay Ziggy and Chad, bought me this shirt yesterday. She's like, "Oh, I think you might like the colors." I'm like, "Oh, you mean the ones that look like that?" Wait, where is it? I can't do the point. There it is. One of that logo right there. But yeah. Yeah, so we got the and then on top of it, the Phillies are rocking those colors tonight. I love when the Phillies do the Throwback Thursday at home.
I agree.
I want to see some maroons too. I want to see the maroon pinstripes come back every now and then.
You mean like with the McCutcheon GIF?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
That's probably my favorite McCutcheon GIF. Phillies like GIF, anything involving the Phillies. That's what I love.
Yeah. So yeah. Again, Keith, we'll start off with Kev. Who's your favorite? Even if you want to, do like an actual. I'm just saying Avalanche.
Yeah.
And then going, we'll go from there.
So this year's a little weird to do as far as predictions because
right. That's why I'm like I'm just.
The seeding itself comes. The seeding itself comes from who gets to the Final Four. So I'm with you. To me, this Colorado Avalanche team, this 2021 team, may be the best hockey team I've seen since the '97 Red Wings. They are unreal watching them play. Offense, defense, Grubauer and net has played really well. Nathan McKinnon makes a strong case that he may be the second best player in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, just an absolute freak to watch. There's no much. I'm very excited for them to try and get a challenge because St. Louis just isn't one for them. And I'm not sure there is one in the league. I really don't. I don't think there's anybody who really matches up well with them with their size and speed. In the East, it's been a grind. The teams are just beating the hell out of each other. I think the Islanders finished game 1 with 72 hits. That's absurd.
Yeah.
It's been really good hockey. Honestly, whatever game you catch, just keep it on because every team is worth watching at this time of year. And this is one of the more exciting playoffs that we've had in a long time. It really does feel like, outside of the Avalanche anyway, that every team has a shot. I feel like you're looking at 16 teams that if they get there, they'll be able to make a case. It's just I'm not sure anyone can slow Colorado down enough to make it, too close in a cup final. But the rest of the series are worth watching, and you never know. It's the best part about playoff hockey. You never know on any given night. But I'm with you, Argo Avs. I like Carolina if they can get there, but they got a little bit tougher road. So,
yeah, I like where your head is at with that, Kevin. I think that the best challenge for them will be in the semifinals as far as the Avalanche goes. I think that the Oilers, just because Connor McDavid is unreal, I think that's probably going to be their only real challenge in this playoffs. Because I'm looking at the bracket right now, and I just don't see anybody else on that half of the bracket that's going to really play in there. And yes, the way that things are seeded this year and the way that the bracket progresses, it is crazy and tough to predict how things are going to work. I guess the only other team that I'm going to look at, the Bolts are hot and you can never count them out. Like we said, in the playoffs, streaking is kind of what you're looking at, seeing who's on fire at this time of year is always important. And I know everybody hates when anyone says this, but Sidney Crosby in the playoffs is a danger no matter what.
Yep.
That's the kind of player that he is. So, that's a possibility. That's just reality. And same, the Bruins are a strong team, but yeah, the Avalanche are obviously the strongest team out there. If I had to pick, a final right now, I would probably say it's going to be Avs Lightning going for it in the final round. And I don't know who's going to win, but I guess I got to pick a winner. I'm going to pick Lightning just to be different than the rest of you.
Yeah. I think it's Avs Bruins. I think the Bruins are a pretty good team. If anything, I saw them dismantle the Flyers literally every time they play them this year. So yeah, I think the Bruins have a pretty good shot. Tampa is Chat's choice. So for whatever that's worth, Chat's got Tampa. It looks like. Yeah, it'll be a good one. I don't think it'll just be a total cakewalk for the Avs, but Nathan McKinnon. It's just, I'll keep it simple when I'm talking about another team. I don't have to get too eccentric about it. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun ride. Again, I think it was Murph in chat said it always is when it comes to the NHL playoffs. I mean, you can copy and paste that for pretty much any sports playoffs too, but hockey just has that vigor to it. Like hockey, it's just like you start to get familiar with each other, and whatever it is, the intensity by game 3, everyone wants to kill each other. The hockey intensity does, and the fact that the sport has built-in violence, I think, is really like the because like imagine if football played series, right? It would get brutal, and that's why your division games have more heat to them because you play them more than once a year. But like a game like basketball, you'll have some, the series will be, fun and it'll have some drama, but you can't necessarily just pop a guy.
Yeah, there's no throwing punch. There's no legal way to throw a punch.
Unless you're Dwight Howard or Mike Scott, because they might do it to you. Be careful. But yeah, it's definitely a fun ride. I love this time of year as far as the NHL playoffs goes, and obviously NBA playoffs, and it helps that the NBA playoffs are going to be that much more exciting. Because, I don't know, the Sixers are the 1 seed, as we had talked about already at the beginning of tonight's show. So yeah. I just hated playing your own division only all year, and playoffs, play them the first 2 rounds. So dumb. I think you got to remember the circumstances. And then when you remember the circumstances and why things are the way they are, I wouldn't call it dumb. I would call it very clever. I liked it. I think maybe Flyers fans don't like it because they got that ass whooped. But that's just get good. Like
so I don't disagree with the sentiment that Flyers fans dislike it more than others, because the Flyers fans, even with the year that they had, made the playoffs in other divisions with the amount of points that they got in the best division in hockey. Yes, under normal circumstances, they probably still would have made the playoffs this year as that 4 or 5 seed, the wild card seed. But I'm with Stone. I agree that in general it sucks as far as continuing, because I don't like the way the actual playoffs are set up. I don't like that you play inside your division once the playoffs start. But this year, if they had known the world would be starting to open up around this time, maybe they would have thought about it differently. But at the same time, you got to get champions out of these divisions at this point. This is all you've done all year. You competed against each other. You have to do it this way. It's 1 year. Yeah, I agree. I don't like playing the same teams over and over again. It drives me nuts. Having to watch the Flyers season already be over and then have to play the Devils 3 more times was just mind-numbing. But yeah, it's a rough year. It's a weird year. You take it for what it is, and you're still getting good hockey out of it. Actually, I think it makes the first 2 rounds even better somehow, because these guys are killing each other because they've already played 6 to 8 times, depending on who you are. So,
Keith, anything to add to that?
Not really. I mean, I get where people are frustrated with how things are playing right now as far as playoff-wise go, but it was the smartest move at the beginning of the year. The way that I can even liken it is, honestly, it's like college basketball. You end up with playing your division pretty much all year. You have a couple other games that you go out there with some of the bigger teams, and then you play a divisional tournament, and you kind of go from there. Yes, obviously they have a much larger playoff after that, but it's similar enough that I can go, okay, I've seen it done before, and I'm not angry about it, because I'm still going to see the better teams come out of this. And for me, watching a quality hockey game is really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for quality sports to be played on the TV in the playoffs, and that's what I'm going to see here, because even those teams that catch fire at the end of the year, yes, in hockey, more often than not, that's the team that can go through that maybe shouldn't be getting through. But you're still probably going to see the teams that should get through and play, and that it's similar to the NBA. Those are the teams that are going to win. Those are the teams that are going to move on, and you're going to get a great quality product towards the end of this tournament, this playoff tournament that we basically have at this point. And that's all I care about, really.
Yeah, I personally, I think familiarity breeds contempt, and I kind of liked it, but especially given the circumstances. But I just wanted a quick point. I'll give it, and then I see chats just kind of lighten up. So I want to get into that. Where was it? Murph said Flyers division was stacked, and to be there just not that good. Would have been cool to sneak in and get waxed in the first round, but this year, yeah. I think if the Flyers got in, they could have been dangerous. But let's face it, with how they played the last month plus of the season, there was no hope. There was no life in that team.
I don't think they could have been dangerous at all. They had no goalie.
Yeah,
they had no goalie all year.
Yeah, when I say they could have been dangerous, that's assuming they were playing even a little bit like they were before they just completely fell off the face of the earth.
I understood where you're going. My biggest problem, and this is my thing with this, is by the way that they played and the way things kind of fell apart, I wanted them to miss. I mean, it got to a point where there was no question that they were going to miss. But this team needs changes. My problem is I'm not sure that they're going to make them.
The changes they need to make are virtually impossible.
To me, I'm not sure what changes you can make, and still be moving in the right direction. This team didn't have a problem with their veteran scoring this year. Every one of their guys who's supposed to score points at a 60-plus point rate. That's what they're supposed to do. The kids didn't develop, and this team, as I've sat here and talked about for the last 5 years with you guys, is watch these kids that are coming. Watch these kids that are coming. And then last year, most of them showed up. And this year, just Farabee. I mean, everybody else took a significant step back. Sanheim seemed to figure it out by the end of the year, but Provorov never looked like himself. Myers never looked like himself. TK never looked like himself. You had injuries to Frost. I get the Lindblom and Patrick thing that's going on with them. I don't know. I don't know where you go this year, because you're going to have to shake something up. They've already said they won't change the coaching staff, which I saw in the comments said that they lost the team. I don't need AV to go, but his assistant's got to go. You have the worst power play in the league, and you have the worst penalty kill in the league, and they're run by your assistant coaches. They got to go.
Yeah.
Because the same personnel did just fine last year. So it can't be a personnel thing on that.
Yeah, I don't want to move AV just out of I don't need a continuity. Like, to keep it simple, for continuity, for the sake of that, I don't want to get rid of AV. As far as what this team needs most, they need cap space. They need freedom, and to do that, they need to move guys that, like I said, are virtually unmovable. Voracek, JVR, like no other team really wants these guys. Maybe JVR now with the year that he had. Voracek's got, I think, 3 more years left on his deal. No one wants Voracek at the number he's making. So he might as well have a full no movement clause. I know Chat's favorite thing to say is, well, he's got a full no movement clause. He's not going anywhere. That was my Stallone impersonation. Was that good?
Yes, because I have no idea what you said. That sounds perfect. Oh my god!
I still believe in heart. That's from Joe Hunter in chat. I agree. I think.
We're making.
Yeah, I'm not going with like the Carson Wentz thing where you see one little bad stretch and you just get rid of the guy that you based your franchise around. I 100% believe in in Carter Hart. I think that they, will probably find a more suitable backup next year. someone that can spell him a little bit more than Brian Elliott. But as far as this team, again, to me, what they need most, and you said shakeup, and again, shakeup comes with what I want, is cap space and just freedom. And it just feels like at every deadline and at every off season, they're just cuffed, just fully handcuffed. And I just want to go into one off season or one trade deadline where, as a fan, I can have a little bit of hope that we can even get somebody or something. But right now, it looks virtually impossible. So just to repeat Kev's point, as we kind of wrap it up or whatever, I do think that assistance and addressing the coaching staff, but not necessarily Elaine Vigneault, is worth a look. You're gonna have to reshape that the defense. That is step one of this offseason. As far as like the actual in between the lines moves, you have to go into next year with 3 suitable defensive pairings, not just a mishmash of talent. Because that's what they had this year. It was just a mishmash. These guys like Myers and like he doesn't all of a sudden just suck, right? And it's like these guys just need to be put together. Even Provorov, wasn't a god like he always is. Everyone took a step back after you lost Niskanen this year.
I think some of this is going to be alleviated or maybe even exacerbated by the fact that we have the expansion draft coming up. Some of the players are going to be picked off the roster.
That's where JVR could potentially go. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, but that's a very good point. And where I was kind of headed with this, a player like JVR could be one of those players that goes. You have players that are going to go. I mean, that's just how this is going to happen. And it'll just be interesting to see, A, who goes, and B, how the team ends up responding, filling the roster past that point. Kevin, what are the exact rules of the expansion draft? Because I'm a little fuzzy on how that works. Obviously, it's been a few years since Vegas came in.
So the way it works is you have to have 3 years of pro experience to be eligible for the expansion draft. There's also rules about one of your defensemen have to have played X amount of games, who is available. The Flyers don't have to worry about any of that. Everybody fits those qualifications. You can save either 8 – I mess this up every time. 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and a goalie, or it's 8 players total. So teams with 4 really good defensemen are going to save 4 forwards and 4 defensemen. The Flyers are going to go 7-3-1, I would guess.
Yeah, I would guess too.
Anyone with a no movement or no trade clause is required to be a part of those 7 unless they agree to waive it, which means that Flyers already have Giroux and Hayes who are covered.
Correct.
After that, they're going to – my guess would be that your 3 defensemen are going to be Provorov, Sanheim, and Myers, which leaves Ghost available again. But as we just saw him get waived and not get picked up, it's a possibility, but it seems unlikely. Hart would have to be the Flyers' goaltender.
Yes.
Which doesn't matter unless Seattle really, really wants Brian Elliott or Lyon for some reason. The last 5 spots, it's really up to the way the Flyers want to handle this. Nolan Patrick has to be covered if you want to keep him. Lindblom has to be protected. TK and Coots are easy ones at 3 and 4. And they're pretty much guaranteeing you don't give Scott Lawton that kind of contract unless you're planning on keeping him. So you figure that's your 5, and then you figure, do you want to keep Lindblom and Patrick, exposing JVR and Voracek? Because as we talked about, the chances of someone taking a shot on Voracek's low. And if you lose JVR, you only have 1 year left with him anyway. So I don't know. My guess is that the Flyers fans are really looking forward to the fact that JVR or Voracek could go. And I think they take someone more along the lines of Nick Albe-Kubel, Robert Haig, Justin Braun. Someone who's on a team-friendly deal with 1 or 2 years. Guy like Kubel, who has a lot of upside, is more likely from an analytics team like Seattle's building up there. That would be my guess. But if they look around the league, they don't see another top-line winger or top goal scorer, maybe they take a shot on JVR. So it'll be interesting. And I'm not as worried. I was more worried about Vegas because I felt like there were still a lot of young pieces who could move, and they were able to just move Belmar. When it comes to this one, they be able to protect the guys they protect, and if they get the benefit of losing $7 to $8 million in cap, great. If they don't, then Chuck's got to do something.
Yeah,
at some point, Chuck's got to prove why the hell he's the GM because he's done nothing in 3 years. I've seen nothing from this guy that gives me any hope. His past record of making trades is pathetic. My worry is you lose a guy like TK and don't get anything back.
Yeah, he signed Niskanen, but he was completely failed to recoup that once they lost him. That's it. And he hired AV, which fans are already coming into question.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with AV. I think his system works. Listen,
not yet.
I don't want. I know we and I've talked about this in the past, and this is what it always comes down to in Philadelphia. And I'm usually with you. I usually think this is nonsense because I've watched good goaltenders get run out of this town because the team in front of them wasn't any good.
Ilya Brizgalov, man. No.
Brizgalov, Biron.
Dude, my boy Briz.
Steve Mason.
R.I.P.
Listen, Briz was a nightmare, but the dude knew how to play. He was fine.
Why do you have to be mad? It's only a game.
He did quit. That pissed me off. But this team was killed by their goaltenders this year. Two of the worst goaltenders.
Is the Rocket in chat because of Briz? Hold on. See, that's why I miss Briz. He's easy content. He's easy content.
The Bear in the Woods is still one of the greatest interviews of all time. Robert Edge. They interviewed him for like 20 minutes.
Great American goaltender.
Before the last game of the season, they interviewed Ash for like 20 minutes in the pregame show, and I have no idea what it was about. But like, I just kept looking at the screen. I'm like, he's still talking. What are they talking to him about? I was at the bar, so I couldn't hear anything. But it's a weird offseason. It's tough. It's tough to really know where to go and how to. My concern is Fletcher. I didn't like the hire when they brought him in. But with anybody else that comes into the city, you give them a chance to see what they got. I haven't seen enough, and I think this is an important offseason. And knowing what guys just took a step back because of the situation they're in, and what guys just don't have it is a tough job. And I wish we had someone better in control of making those decisions. But it is what it is. I'm excited to see what the next couple weeks hold, and scared shitless at the same time. So
yeah. I can copy that and paste that same thought and put it in for the 76ers. Because I'm excited. I don't know that I'm scared shitless. But man, I'm a little, look, I'm nervous, like the nervous excitement. Look, it's not like championship or bust for this team this year. Go ahead, Keith.
I'll say this: the one thing that I will say in the difference department as we're switching over,
if you got
I'm not worried about the construction of the Sixers, where I am worried about the construction of the Flyers and how that's going to pan out, because you need those guys to develop that you have drafted with the youth and the Flyers end of things. But when it comes to the Sixers, you see a Tyrese Maxey who clearly is developing and clearly is being a product that you can depend on when it comes to who you drafted. And it looks like Daryl Morey has done a fantastic job when it comes to that. It looks like Matisse Thybulle has developed into a player you can depend on, at least on the defensive side, if not more. And obviously Shake Milton gives you quality minutes from time to time. So I'm feeling pretty good about this Sixers team when we're moving into the playoffs here. Like, I'm excited. I know a lot of people, including some longtime fans, have poo-pooed their prospects this year. And honestly, you have an MVP candidate and a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and you have some exciting pieces, a very deep bench. So I don't see how you can't get behind this team to be excited. As we all like to hear, the get excited. Like, you really do need to.
Yeah, I mean, look, why not? we were excited in 2017 when the Eagles were making their run, right? And who knows? Um, but yeah, as far as the here and the now, yeah, Maxi's been balling. Probably might have even got himself a spot in the lineup between how well he's been playing and how shaky Milton has been playing. So we'll see. And yeah, like you said, Keith, Maxi, he's a guy that came here, and we all as Philadelphians immediately gravitated towards this guy. And he just came onto the court, and we are like, wow, this guy is fun. The only knock on him was, can we get him on the court? And I think with Shake Milton kind of struggling like he has, and Maxi not struggling, you might be able to find a way for him on the court. And the best thing about this situation is you have a round to toy with that. Like, you're gonna be able to kind of figure that out during the first round, whether it be the Pacers or Washington. Which I want to check in on that game because I think that's on right now. Would love to get a little update to see who we're gonna dismantle. I think just real quick, I think the Pacers are the better team of the two, and I think the Pacers will, as a team, get the Sixers to the level that they need to get to, as far as like getting the juices going. However, I want the Sixers to play Washington because I think that gets Ben Simmons going. The Russell Westbrook v. Ben Simmons matchup. And for me and for the Sixers, I think it's obviously everything's JoJo and Joel Embiid and your MVP. But the real X factor is, what do you get out of Ben Simmons offensively in the playoffs? And if you can get him engaged early in the first round, that would be a good sign. I think Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, those names sort of they're sort of the kindling to get that fire roasting under Ben. So look, either way, the Sixers are going to win that series, barring like something crazy. And hey, if they lose in the first round, big changes are coming. We saw that last year. So it's like, even if you're a hater, it's like, all right, well, I got to retort to you too. That means Ben Simmons probably gets traded and you get your wish. Yeah. So shut up, and guess what? Next year we're still going to be excited, and we're still going to be right here next year, probably in number 1 seed. Like, this isn't a window that's closing anytime soon, as long as Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are here, and as long as they're both healthy. So yeah. And I see in chat. Sorry, I've been a little off wheel on chat tonight. So sorry if I'm ignoring it. If there's anything that you want us to talk about that we flat out missed, just copy and paste it a couple times. We'll get there. This is from Dennis in chat. I'm a little worried Beal and Westbrook giving us problems cause our defense fell off. I feel like look, the simplest way to put this. Do you really think the Washington Wizards or can they beat the Sixers 4 times?
Yeah, I mean, for me,
the Wizards. I said
the
throwback.
The Pacers give me more concern when it comes to defense, only because I don't know they have anyone who really stands up to Sabonis. He's a really good player, and he's an odd.
They are the Wizards. Stupid.
I would say, I don't know what you're talking about. You got it right.
Bullets for the throwback. I thought I said the wrong name for a second.
I was like, you got it right.
I was like, wait.
I was like, I'll let him walk through that himself.
I'm just used to calling DC teams Washington at this point. No one gets a nickname.
Nope.
But oh god.
I with Beal and Westbrook, the Sixers guard defense and center defense is tops. I mean, you got Thibault, who may be just as good on that side of the ball as Ben. I mean, just sick defensively, both of them. Sabonis is as a power forward that I mean, not that Tobias is bad at defense. He's not. He's a good defender in his own right. But Sabonis is he's a big dude. I mean, he's big, he's strong, he gives you problems, and I'm a little more worried about the matchup when it comes to Indiana, if that's what it comes to. I'm not worried at all. I think it's a damn near certainty that the Sixers win. And, as I saw people arguing earlier, I think there's a good chance they do sweep. They are a significantly better team than more than half the teams in the East.
Yeah. I'll say Sixers in 5 just to be nice.
Yeah, and that's without knowing who you're playing.
Yeah, and either way, that's how I feel like. And you're right. It's probably even going to be closer to 4. Thank you for the birthday bits.
I do know that the Pacers are definitely a harder matchup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I know that because they were just a more well-rounded team. And while Beal is a prolific scorer and Westbrook is a triple-double machine, like you said earlier, Kev, or was it Pinto? I apologize. But Ben just gets up for that extra matchup. We've almost seen it in a lot of Philadelphia teams where they play to the level of their competition. Ben is kind of the epitome of that. If he feels disrespected, he tends to go and become exactly what we want him to be. And he shuts that player down. Even though he got criticism in that series against Kawhi years ago, let's be honest, Kawhi really didn't do as much as Kawhi does when Ben was on him. Like, that's just the kind of player that Ben is. He's going to do that. So that's why, honestly, I don't really care who it is that we end up playing in the first round. I agree with you guys in that sense. I think, 5 games is generous because I think the Sixers are just going to be like, no, we're going to squash you. Because no matter who you go with, whether it's, your starting 5 or you go to your bench, which you might be like 10 deep, like you really might, they're all bringing it because I believe Doc Rivers has this team dialed in and they know what is expected of them. That's the difference between last year and this year. And everybody knows that I really did like Brett Brown as a human being, but Doc Rivers as a coach is a Hall of Fame coach, and he 100% has this team rolling on all cylinders when it matters, and I just don't see any way of them getting bounced in the first or second round. I really don't.
Yeah, I agree. I just to even again don't know who they're playing in the second round, but guess what? It's all year. All year, what have my fears have been. Don't just write off, it's not going to just be the you can't just worry about the Nets. You got to also worry about the Heat and the Bucks. Well, ta-da, they're playing against each other. So the 2 people, one of them's already going to be gone. So you can only face one of those, one of those 3 teams. You can only get to them in the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah. So again, it's just like, the road is laid out. So it's just like everything is falling into place for this team. The fact that you don't have to worry about the Bucks or Heat in the second round, that's huge. The fact that you'll probably be playing someone like the Knicks, where it's gonna be. I don't want to write these teams off, but the Sixers are the better team, and it should be relatively easy. Maybe that one of the teams take them to 6, and that's a big scare. But I think that this team is just geared up, and anything short of the Eastern Conference Finals is a nightmare.
By the way, I have a little bit of nonsense here for you. I did get a new piece for the Man Cave that is still slightly under construction, but I did get a new piece here, and it is Sixers related, which I'm getting. That's why I'm doing this.
Oh, I like it.
I'm trying to get the best picture for the viewers here.
Yeah,
but
it's nice.
Yeah, it's the from the Sixers versus Jazz game here. But it's cool. I found that there's a person on Etsy that does make almost like comic book covers for the Sixers. And it's like this Saturday art. I don't know how. I'm probably butchering how they actually say it, but it was cool. But yeah, I got that. I'm gonna put that in a frame. But I thought that was pretty good. I almost bought one with Ben Simmons on it because I do love me some Ben Simmons because he does not get enough love in this town. But I couldn't pass up that Jazz game because who doesn't love JoJo?
Yeah, I mean, he's my mouse pad.
He is your mouse pad,
my
actually,
mouse pad.
as I can see it. And I believe you have the pop of Embiid too.
I got the pop down there. If we're showing off new things to the man cave too, I got the Eastbound and Down pop that Jay Ziggy. This is the newest edition. In chat, can you see those face tan lines?
Yo,
Like this, and for you guys now, I'll show you.
Dude,
I think
that's
you can see that.
fantastic.
But I mean, the first season of this show is maybe the best comedy show ever.
are you not going to show off a Pride Batman?
It's over. It's but yeah, it is. It's right. It's right there. I think I put that. Did I put that on? No, I haven't. I haven't taken Instagrams of my Funko Pops.
You have it. You have it.
But I got the setups going nice as of late too. We're really fine tuning the shelves. So yeah.
Just to let people in on that one, I got Anthony a Funko for Christmas. That was because those who know gamers know that they love Rainbow Pop. I just I did not realize that it was Gay Pride Batman when I bought it.
Not that there's anything wrong with
there's
that.
Nothing wrong with that. I just didn't.
Seinfeld episode.
But if anybody knows me and Anthony, you know that we are heterosexual lovers, and that's fine.
Yeah, heterosexual life mates. Exactly.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
Jay and Silent Bob. Except neither of us ever shuts up. I did the
No silent here.
I was Silent Bob one year for Halloween and went out, and people were like, you don't shut the hell up for someone that's supposed to be silent. I was like, yeah, it happens.
Did you do that with Tim? Is that who you did that with?
Yeah, me and Tim.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And that was at it was a Native Maze show, so I was drinking, so therefore my mouth just it just starts calling. You're like, you are not a silent Bob. But I digress.
Just give you a headache. Give you a headache, and you'll be quiet.
I do best. Yeah, well, that's true. Give me a migraine, nothing shuts me up better than that. Only thing the Sixers have to play is even with Brooklyn, 3 players. Yeah. Yeah. Wait. I can't. Only thing the Sixers have.
Yeah, Tavares was started off here, right?
Yeah, really scary. Thoughts to John Tavares because that was very, very scary.
Yeah, I didn't get to see.
It's a weird play.
It's 66-52 at halftime. Wizards up. By the way, too. That'll be Sunday.
So the team that was supposed to be in 8th place is going to be in 8th place? That's weird.
It's almost like the NBA play-in tournament is
pointless.
Absolutely useless.
It's weird.
Absolutely
weird how that works. My thing with the whole thing is this. Like, I got the play-in last year. I got it in hockey, and I got it in basketball because the season didn't get to be completed. You went into this year knowing you weren't going to complete the year. Why is there still this?
Yeah,
I mean, other than TV ratings, which we already discussed. But, like, I don't get it this year. I don't understand. I understood you had to do it on the fly. I don't get setting this as being an option to begin with. And thank you so much, Dennis. I was able to turn that on just in time.
Yeah, it's a total cash grab. Like that's as much as I can say. And hey, if you're into it, that's cool. Like I'm sure. Like again, the Lakers game that came down to was a 3-point game. So hey, it's I guess the TV network companies, they got what they wanted.
It was nice fodder for intermission, which is where I was able to turn it on to watch the last 2 hours of the game. No, I mean last 90 seconds. Same thing.
So yeah. As far as the Sixers go, any other final thoughts? Anything? Because we're going to be continuing to talk about them. Next week will be mid-first round. They'll probably already be up 1 or 2-0.
My final thought is for the playback here. because I know that he will watch the playback. But just so you know, Joe, my Wawa sandwich of choice is the prime rib sandwich. So just letting you know.
I love it. Yeah, and so it's gonna be fun. We're gonna continue just the whole playoff series. You guys make sure you're staying
Excuse me,
hanging.
brisket, not prime rib.
Hanging. I was wondering. I was like, I don't think they do prime rib, but
I wish they did.
I
That would
thought it
make
was a
the
joke.
brisket.
I thought you were like,
Brisket.
I take the prime rib. Give me the most expensive thing on the menu.
I mean, yeah, it was a joke.
Make
Give
sure
me the
you
prime
add
rib.
cheese and bacon to it. So I do want to talk a little bit of Eagles. We got some Phillies too as we round out the show. I want to hit 4 for 4. I saw earlier in chat. I did see something about Velasquez, and that was look.
Velasquez is a bum. Get
It's
him
the
out of
thing. It's
here.
like he's pitching well, and of course he can't come in today. So now it's back. Everything's the sky's falling again.
Yeah.
But Velasquez as your sixth starter has really been, doing his job. And obviously tonight it is what it is. He can't come in. You can't fault a guy for that. But as far as where are we on the Phillies tonight? Oh, it's 5-0. That's not good. Well, that's a bullpen game, and the bullpen's going to get shelled.
That's because Matt Moore can't do anything.
Well, that's why Vince Velasquez has been your starter as of late, and at this point, Chase Anderson is going to be next on that Matt Moore shelf because he's pretty garbage himself.
Here's what's frustrating to me in that department, by the way, is the fact that I get that they're trying to let him get a little bit more developed after last year and everything, but Spencer Howard is sitting in AAA, and I mean, over I think 3 starts, he's racked up 13 strikeouts or something absurd like that. It's. I would rather Chase Anderson as the 5th starter, so I can just say, Matt Moore, go the hell home. You have Spencer Howard, please. I know Phillies as an organization have been famous for not bringing people up at the right time. And I get that he struggled last year, but that was his first exposure, and it was a weird year to do it. I want to say that he's ready at this point. Please, bring Spencer Howard up sooner rather than later so you actually have a shot at this wild card spot that I keep saying you're going to make. Don't make me look bad. Come on.
Yeah, I think Spencer Howard should be in the starting rotation.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You can have Howard and Velasquez, and get rid of Matt Moore and Chase Anderson at this point.
I'm okay with that
because I mean, at least why not? But yeah, I do think that it's an indictment on this entire organization. The fact that they don't have an outfielder. Like, Bryce Harper is your only outfielder right now. And, no disrespect to Kutch, but Kutch should be not an everyday player at this point in his career. And again, no disrespect. We saw he just hit a moonshot for his 250th last night. He's a good player. He's still producing, but he shouldn't be. You can't rely on a guy like that every day. And the fact that the Phillies have no one to spell with him, to just come in, and it's an indictment. They have no outfield. They have no starting pitching. They have no relief pitching. It's really, they don't have any hitting either, as far as where from the actual organization goes. So yeah, Keith, just it's a joke, and again, it feels a little bit like last year where you're like, these 4 and 5 are so glaringly obvious holes, but the bullpen's better. So I guess we were supposed to be happy this offseason. But it's well, you fixed one thing, and there's still 3 other glaring holes that you didn't even choose to address over the offseason. Now you got to kind of just sit around for about another, 2-3 weeks, and then it'll be trading season?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. I mean, it's sad, but we're wasting Bryce Harper. We're wasting JT Realmuto. That's what you're doing by sitting around doing nothing. And maybe the fact that you're doing nothing is the fact that they realize that they are that far behind in what they should be doing with their starting rotation and their outfield that they say, you know what, forget it. We're not going to be doing this.
Yeah, but my thing is, legitimately, they're not. Like,
I agree.
Personnel-wise, yes. But the division has done nothing but what we talked about, and we talked about this on opening day. All they're going to do is beat the hell out of each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the teams are about the same skill level, so they'll just continuously. The teams who wins is going to be 5 or 6 games over 500, and that's how it's going to end because they're just going to keep doing this to each other. They're not doing anything right now is just infuriating. I mean, and like you said, whether it's call people up or what, and I understand that the center fielding position got just that much worse with Hazley having to go out for whatever that was personal wise. But you're still looking at a couple weeks till he's ready to, really be a whatever kind of player he is.
Yeah.
And he's bad when he's healthy and fine anyway. So you're still going to need to look for a center fielder.
I didn't go that far, but
even if he's not bad, like whatever you think Adam Hazley, project the best possible thing that you can for Adam Hazley, and this team still needs more than him, right?
Right.
He's another guy that I look at least, and I'm like, even at his best of days, he's a bench outfielder. He's not an everyday center fielder, and that's what this team is riddled with right now.
He does give you that spell from McCutcheon.
Yes, you're right there.
Which
he does, which is what you need, but you need
I want Pop.
Starter and center field.
I wouldn't say he's a perfect response to that.
No, I agree. For me, I want to go out and find another Jay Bruce. Because when you had him off your bench had someone scary. And right now, Jay Knapp is your best bench hitter. Not Jay Knapp. Andrew Knapp.
Andrew Knapp.
That's almost like going with Mike Gruden when you talk about football.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind reaching out to Jay. He's only recently retired.
J.A. Happ.
J.A. Happ, exactly. That's what I want to call.
But yeah.
If you missed it when Stun brought it up earlier, if you're not watching this Penguins-Islanders game right now, I appreciate that you're still watching this, but seriously, throw it on in the background. Because they're now on the second line fight of the last 5 minutes.
Oh, is it really a brawl?
It was a 10-person brawl the first time. Clutterbuck just tackled the goalie. So it's just
things are going well, right?
Chat, we gotta go.
The Islanders got Crosby thrown out of the game for 5 minutes, and then tied the game 40 seconds later.
That's impressive.
And they lost their third line, so their second line went right out there and scored. And now there's 11 people in both boxes.
That's got to be social distancing protocol. Oh man,
the Penguins barely fit before this. I have no idea what it's going to look like now.
That's wild.
But they're at a TV break, so I'm curious to see what the penalty boxes look like after this. So, but
and the playoffs too. I'm wondering how the NHL is going to feel about that. You might see some fines or suspensions in the playoffs. I know the NHL. I don't know why, but the NHL does not like fighting in the playoffs.
Oh, they have no problem with fighting. It's the killing each other. Like Kadri from the Avalanche. He may be done for the year.
Yeah.
He threw a hit that wasn't legal 25 years ago, and sure as hell isn't legal now.
Nope.
In
fact, he made contact to that word.
Yeah, he has the meeting I think tomorrow morning. I've never seen a hit where the contact is only the head. Like I've seen hits where that's the first point of contact or the second. He literally only hit him in the head with a flying elbow at full speed. So. He's also like a third or fourth time offender at this point. Only in the playoffs, though, which is remarkable to me. Like, never been suspended or fined for anything he's ever done in the regular season, but now he's on 3 or 4 in playoff time.
Yeah.
I get being hyped, but, maybe let's take it down like a notch or two.
You still got to keep your head in. I mean, that's I see Odubel Herrera's name in chat. That's a classic Odubel Herrera is to just lose your head. I mean, that's... The dude backflips after he walks.
So. He hit a home run the other day. And by the other day, I'm sure it was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I know. It was actually... I don't remember what day you're talking about. It was the game winner, too, I think. Or not the game winner. It was late in the game, though.
That was a nice one. The one he hit right before that was also pretty late in the game, and it got out by. If it was a decent center fielder, it doesn't get out.
Yeah.
It should have been caught. And I actually thought he bat flipped on a pop up, and I was like, "This guy again."
He
like,
does it all the time.
He's just know you hit it out. If you hit it out, I don't care. You can throw it into the stands for all I care.
He's a clown. There's a time again. I love the bat flip, but when you bat flip literally every time you do something, even if it's making out, you're an idiot. Yes. Everything he does, I can't stand Odubel Herrera. I just can't. Yep. I really.
I don't care. I don't care how hot he gets. I don't want him on this team. So.
Yeah. The two people that I'm looking at, if we're going to talk about Phillies trades way too early, John Gray and Charlie Blackmon, because that's a starter and a center fielder that you can put on this team. That are at least players that you can go ahead and, John Gray's a free agent, if I'm not mistaken, and Charlie Blackmon, I think, has a player out. So maybe you'll be able to offer him a contract to play and improve the team long term. But that's the kind of deal you need to make. You need a starter. You need a center fielder.
Yeah, but it's not even June yet, so no teams are going to make that trade.
No.
Not yet. Again, because they still have to sell tickets. 29. Again, not yet. But no, I like where your head's at. Let's keep those names in. Let's keep watching those guys.
Yeah, it's the way too early trade talk, but that's the kind of deal you're going to be looking for, and hopefully you can get that kind of thing going, because then you get yourself a third starter, you get yourself an outfielder, and you're looking okay. But that's the kind of stuff that Philly's got to look for, because either that, or you're going to be putting a cap on the season and saying whatever happens, happens, and we're going to sign free agents and move on next year, which is not what any Phillies fan wants to hear at this point, because that's absurd.
Yeah, and again, it's good analysis in there now, and I'm not like knocking you on that. I just mean for like the fans that are like, we need it. It's like they're not, the Phillies like literally can't do anything right now because just teams don't make the trades. But let's keep an eye on those guys. Absolutely. Right. But yeah, and that's where in the 2-3 weeks, that's when those names the stove will start heating up, and we'll be cooking up, and it's just as June starts to unwind, that's when the trade season starts to happen in baseball. And the Phillies, they got to get going, because Keith, you said something earlier that struck a nerve with me, wasting Bryce Harper. And before, when it was Manny Machado or Bryce Harper, who do you want to get, or this and that, all offseason I said the Phillies need to do more than just sign one of these guys if they expect to be good. Essentially. And my biggest fear was that they were going to sign one of them and call it a day. And it's been 3 years later, and they really have, our JT's been nice.
Been 3 years, damn.
But they really, this is the third season of Bryce, and they still have not assembled a full team around him, and it's infuriating, because you didn't sign. Yeah, you have Bryce Harper for 13 years, but you don't. You have him for 5 to 7. You need to win in this window when his contract, when he is worth something. You don't want to win when Bryce Harper's a bench player, and that's when you win his World Series. I want to win all of them. I don't care. I'm not saying let's not win that one, but this team has to strike while Bryce is in his prime, which is now, which is last year. Just putting up with this bench. Look at that bench and then think of the Phillies in 2008. Does that bench look like a team that can help you get to the playoffs? No. So there's work to be done. There's absolutely work to be done, and hopefully that these standings and where they are in the standings helps us as fans, because as fans, we're all hungry. We want moves to be made, and the only way that management is going to do that, in my opinion, is if they're in first or close to it, and hey, they are right now. So yeah. I never want to see Kingery or Quinn again. And then the next comment immediately is Kingery sucks. Hate him. Kingery, again, indictment of the farm system. Kingery has no business being on this major league roster right now. He should be in AAA, getting his at bats, getting work in.
He needs to get fixed.
But he is here. Now he's on the DL or the concussion, whatever it is. But it's a guy that's got no right being anywhere near a major league roster with how he's been playing. And yeah, it is what it is. Is Nola pinch hitting right now? That's bad. I mean, look. I've had all sorts of questions about Girardi, but it's what do you want him to do? Even with Segura the other day, he can't even bench Segura because he's got no healthy people to put on. It's bad. Like, this team needs bodies. Like, for Girardi to be like, I'm not sitting here saying I'm not giving Girardi any sort of leeway, but like, for bleep's sake, help the guy. Right. Like, help the guy so I can rip him. Like, but yeah, it's and hey, while we're on, Reese has been batting lower in the lineup. I've been digging that. He's batting. Wheeler's today, not Nola. Pitch hitting. Hey man, get Wheels up there at the bat. Well, I was gonna say Velasquez, but I guess he can't because he's hurt. Or he would have been in there.
Probably can't feel that index finger.
Yeah, I was gonna say so.
You can hit with an hurt index finger. It's fine.
It's a shame. This whole game is probably different if he's in there today. Or who knows? Maybe it's the game he blows up. But Velasquez has been doing his job. Everyone knows I'm noted. Like, I've said many negative things about Velasquez, but if he can keep pitching the way he's been as your sixth, starter, that's damn good.
Right, he's pitching fine.
So it is, it's just been, it's baseball. It's gonna be a grinding season, and that's where we are with it. I don't know. Any other final Phillies thoughts tonight, guys?
No, it's playoff hockey season. I'll be back in July.
I was gonna say any other thoughts in general. We can do quick Eagles talk if we really want. We can table it.
Yeah,
things.
I'll give my quick Eagles thought that I'm pretty actually stoked thus far about what I'm seeing by Nick Sirianni with his epic clothing choices and how he's approaching this fan base. I think he's saying all the right things, doing the right things, and Jalen Hurts, similar to what Nick's doing, is saying the right things. Where you hear Miles Sanders saying, hey, we know he's the guy, the way he acts in the locker room. He's asking for everybody's number. He's doing the right things. And you hear other players saying similar things. You hear good things about, a guy I criticized as far as his size goes in our first-round pick. And hearing how you have your CB1 coming out and talking about how
that was so directed at you, Keith.
Huh?
Slade directed that. I actually thought he was going to say, "Hey, Keith, this is what I think," because this was so perfectly said to you.
It was so perfect. It was. I saw that too. But Slay actually came out and said how he's like, yeah, he has a smaller body, but he knows what he's doing with it. He knows how to get in the right position to catch the ball. Like, we had a conversation. I've seen what he can do. Like, he's going to be fine. Like, but seeing what he said, like, makes me feel better. And I know that I was pretty hard on him draft night, and since then I've kind of relaxed off of that because, like I said, I think he's a very high upside player, and he really could be that wide receiver one that we want. And I think that Jalen Reagor could be that 1B that Anthony has even said, with the speed and the way that he could be used by Sirianni, who is a wide receivers coach. I like that. I like what Gannon's saying, where they don't have a scheme. It's literally, I'm going to put my players in the best position, and whatever they can do, I'm going to coach around that, and that's my scheme. Hearing that, hearing every single coach basically say, like, yeah, man, I don't lock myself into one thing. I go with what my players do well. That makes me feel pretty damn good about this team because we have obviously seen coaches in the past try to put square pegs and round holes. And no, I'm not just talking about Doug. I'm talking about like Chip. I'm talking about Andy to a certain extent, even at the end, started doing that.
Wide nine
with Jim Schwartz. Like,
behind nine.
Yes, exactly. But I'm excited to see these things happen. And I understand that it is only a rookie camp and a mini camp that is happening, OTAs. I understand that, but that doesn't mean I can't feel positive about my team moving forward, because I think positivity is something that is okay in the offseason. You don't have to be negative at every single move they do. And obviously everybody knows how I feel about Howie and what I've said about him in the past, but I am feeling positive about how this team is moving forward. I'm excited to see where and what happens with this team and where it goes.
Pinto, you want me to be negative or you want to take it?
You can start off. I'll just sit back and enjoy it.
There's plenty to be negative about. Don't get me wrong.
No, honestly, it's one of those things. I'll find a middle ground with it. First off, I like most of the things I've heard. I agree with you on that. I liked what I heard last year and the year before that and the year before that too. So that does nothing for me. Jalen Hurts needs to find a new quote book, because those are the weirdest inspirational quotes I've ever heard.
He's not going to miss a meal. He's not going to miss payment.
So weird, but like I appreciate the sentiment behind it all. But
yes,
it's just so weird. But anyway,
weirder than his like clothing choice that he's been like rocking around the city and stuff too.
I'm not sure.
He went to a Sixers game in like what I'm wearing now.
Pajamas.
Like basketball shorts and like a throwback 90s shirt.
Yeah. I honestly, like, I expect. I've never questioned Hurts' ability to be a leader. I've never questioned his ability, to lead a room. I'm glad the guys are taking to him. I have no faith in Rager, as you just brought up as I was shaking my head as you said it.
That's where we'll disagree, and I share Keith's positivity.
Yeah. I didn't like I hated the draft pick at the time. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like either of their draft picks.
He's not going to live up to his first round hype. I'm within that, but I think he can still be a productive player on the team.
I hope so. I mean, and like I said, when he scored a touchdown, if he scores, he scores. I'm not going to be like, oh man, I was wrong. I don't care. I hope I'm wrong. I'm gladly take him as a guy to be a 2 or a 1B. I just don't. I don't see the hands, but that's besides the point. I don't.
Devonta comes in.
I'm not quite sure what to do with my hands.
Yeah. I'm still not sure Jalen's got
for the bits, by the way, too, Joe Hunter.
I'm not sure Jalen's got the skills. I'm not sure.
Rager or Hurts? I'm sorry.
Hurts. Sorry, I moved on. I forgot we have.
It's gonna get tough this year with Jalen's.
Yeah, it's gonna get weird. The defense I still don't think is good. I mean, like I have plenty of things that I'm not sure about with this team. Again, talk is cheap. I'm with Joe though. I like the fact that they're back to real practices. I think that something that really hurt the Eagles, especially, was the lack of practices, was the lack of being able to be in the huddles with each other, especially with a guy like Carson who had missed time in previous seasons for injuries. I think there's just getting back to a little bit more normal. I think will help them. And getting the best guard in football helps too. Whether he's still that guy after his second major knee injury, I don't know. But you don't have Jason Peters, thank God. You can't fool Howie Roseman 6 times. The first 5 you can, but the 6th time he figures it out and doesn't re-sign him. Though Peters hasn't signed yet, so.
But wait, I was going to say there's still time.
There's still plenty of time.
Don't do that to me.
There's still plenty of time.
Don't do that to me.
I'm on Twitter. Jason Peters has signed with the Eagles. He's going to be a player's coach.
The player's coach. I'm waiting for Peters and Sproles to come back again this year. Me and Ant talked a little bit before while we were working through our technical difficulties, but the beginning of the schedule's impossible. I mean, if they come out of that with a win or 2 in the first 7 weeks, good on you, because I don't see it. Now, the end of the season looks like a perfect schedule to save Howie Roseman's job.
Correct.
To give him another shot at these 3 first-round picks.
Yes.
Because it just falls off a cliff. Like, you got to get through the ringer. But once you get your ass whooped by Brady, you should be able to just go on a run. At least you're playing teams at your skill level for the most part. And in a division that I still don't expect to be any good, as there's still not a single quarterback in the division.
See, I'm going to say this. I see this team either winning like 4 games this year or 12 games this year, no in between. Zero
There's-
chance of an in between.
Keith, I will bet 500 to 1 that they do not win 12 games this year.
I'm with you. I am with you on that.
But you just said they could. What do you mean you're with?
It would have to be the monumental. Everything goes right with them, with this coaching staff and how the players are and how everything. I mean, it would have to literally be like every little thing needs to go right.
If everything goes right.
I need to see this schedule because I don't care.
I know that they're playing some dog poop teams, but
I'm gonna go through. I mean, like legitimately.
No, we're not gonna go through. Each week, we're not doing that. That's not.
No. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm saying like looking through it. I said, you know what? Listen, I mean, if it ends up being that Jalen Hurts is legitimate and maybe some people get hurt and everybody gets the right button pressed, like, then yeah, that could happen.
You still got to trade Zach Ertz. Like that's still gonna happen. Like this. The positivity surrounding this team is so befuddling because it's like, oh, the line is healthy. Wait, didn't we say that the last 3 years going into the season? And oh, the line doesn't stay healthy, and you can copy and paste that for the defensive line.
Does it make you feel
well.
better that I'm saying like it's a 95% chance that this team is like a 3-win team? Like, does it make you feel better?
No, honestly, I'd rather I want to believe that they can win 9 or more games. Like I love that. It's just so confusing the logic that people are using to get to that. Keith, not you, Keith, for the record. I'm not saying because you at least brought other things. You didn't you didn't say the same garbage that you brought things that I can hang my hat on at least. But the beat writers and the people that cover this team, I'm like, do you even look at the things that you wrote last year? It's the same crap you're feeding me.
I can tell you right now that the teams that they can beat are the Falcons, the Niners, depending on what happens with their quarterback situation. I'm not impressed by Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's kind of where I'm at with that.
I got you, but that defense is better than.
I get that.
Okay.
I said can. I didn't say will.
I think they have 5 guaranteed losses without going into the division.
Yeah, well, because you look at the first 5 games and their first five losses that you're probably going to get. The Panthers, though, they could technically find a way. You know what I mean? Like the Raiders, they could find a way.
I got you. But I'm telling you, I think there's 5 teams they lose to that aren't in the division, which already means that for you to get to 12, they have to win all 6 in the division, which in the history of the NFC East has happened twice.
Doesn't happen, yeah.
And the last time it happened, I was 12. So, I'm not really banking on that being something that happens again. Because
but I can see them beating the Broncos. I can see them beating the Saints. Like the Jets are dog poop.
I'm not going to beat the Saints.
You beat them last year. And
depends on how long Taysom Hill has a job. Once Jameis comes in, it's over. But if Jameis Winston starts that game, it's a loss. Just like it was last year.
Unless he decides to throw 4 interceptions a game like he's known to do.
He could throw 5 interceptions. He's still beating that team. He's going to throw 5 touchdowns, too. That's just the way Winston is.
That's very true. But, that's what I'm saying. Like, the absolute break rate potential is there in the 1 to 2% category. And, yes, it could happen. I don't think it's going to. Just because, I feel they have too much to go. I feel like we come away from the season feeling positive, though. I feel like we ultimately say Jalen Hurts is the guy. And even if we don't, guess what? I still feel positive about this team because then we have 3 first-round picks to pick the guy.
Yeah, I think Eagles fans need to get used to the fact that you're going to see Joe Flacco start some games this year because Jalen Hurts is going to run the ball too many times. He's going to get hurt. That's my biggest. That's my biggest. When I look at Jalen Hurts, my biggest concern in his game is 2 things. He's too reliant on the run, and I don't know that he's got the biggest arm strength. And guess what? Your wide receivers are going to really rely on him having big arm strength, especially Rager. So, my concerns with Hurts is that he's going to be trying to run the ball 25 times a game. And guess what? You're not going to be able... You can do that 4 to 6 games like you did last year. You're not doing that through 17 games, Baba. You're going to get hurt, and we're going to see Joe Flacco start 2 games this year, probably, at least.
Okay.
And that's their losses.
Well, yeah.
and
we know that.
Yeah, my feeling is I don't know where we're going to be at the end of this year, but to echo off of that, Keith, if at the end of this year we can feel good about Jalen Hurts, that's a win. That's a win on the season.
Yeah, it's a huge win.
That's a win. I don't care what the record is. If we as a collective can feel good about Jalen Hurts, that's a win. If you can, as a collective, feel really good about your defense going in the next year, that's a win. I don't know that that's a possibility, especially given the cornerback situation. But I'm just looking like that's what we're looking for. Right now we're going to see what's our defensive unit, what's our quarterback situation, and then last but not least, we want to feel comfortable about our head coach, who, hell yeah, it's really easy to root for a guy that's got that much, enthusiasm. Just like the dude's having fun. I mean, we're referring to him as the dude. So like that in its own sense is like different compared to football. Like I wouldn't refer to Bill Belichick as the dude, right? Now maybe that's a bad thing, but look, as us, we're all relatively young. It's kind of fun to see a guy that's not too many years above us being a head coach, right? Like I say it, I'm like, I dig it. Like the Brandon Graham thing, like that's the stuff. Like I would do that if I was, it's like, so I relate, gravitate, I enjoy it. I just hope that all of the football players do that. And last but not least, it just comes down to winning. Forget personality, this and that, and third. It just comes down to winning.
I mean, right now, that's all this fun stuff we got with Sirianni is all you have right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't check, and we have no way of knowing what he's going to be as a head coach yet. I'm all for this guy. I hope he succeeds. I like, he's gotten better with interviews. I'm very proud of him for that because that's not easy to do. If you're not good at it, you're not usually good at it. But he seems to be handling it a lot better now. I like the guy. I like what he did in Indianapolis. I liked the hire. I didn't see many options out there that presented anything better to me, in my mind. So I liked what they were doing. There's already talk of Gannon being pulled from the Eagles because teams want him for a head coach next year. They didn't even play a game yet, and they're already looking at coaching him.
That's how popular he was.
Right. So I'm all for this coaching staff that they put together. I'm curious to see what it looks like. I have questions of the players. My thing with this is, and this is what I'll ask you guys, I guess, is what constitutes a good enough season in Jalen Hurts that you don't use one of these three picks on a quarterback again?
I don't think you can constitute that with wins. I think you can constitute that really by tape, and it's not a tangible number that you could put anywhere. And that's the most frustrating thing to say as a host. That's the most frustrating thing to say as a fan. It's the most frustrating thing to say as anybody out there, is that there's no tangible number that I can put on Jalen Hurts to say that's what I need from him. But what I need from him is close games. I need him to make good decisions. I need him to not say, I'm going to pull the ball down every chance I get and run it. I need him to make the right throws, because as much as Lamar gets those knocks about how he's not a good throwing quarterback, 2 years ago, he was one of the leaders in the league, if not the leader, and I had to pull the stats, in throwing touchdowns. The fact that that's what you need from a player like that is to be up in those numbers, to be able to say, hey, you know what, my legs are a big enough threat that people are going to collapse in on me, and I'm going to make those throws that I need to make to have our team in a position to win a game. I mean, that's what you need from Jalen Hurts, is that kind of a performance. Just say, I know when to run, I know when not to run. And there's going to be moments that as a player who is essentially, we'll call him a rookie, even though it's year two, but that kind of a rookie starter in this sense makes those right decisions and makes more good than bad ones to be able to go forward. That's what I'm looking for as the season progresses.
For me, yes, to everything Keith said. Number one, game started. Number one is game started. After what we just went through the last 3 years, look, I was a Carson Wentz fan. I'm a Carson. I still, if you're asking me to make a list, I put Carson Wentz above Jalen Hurts. Just that's how I feel. That being said, when I just talked about concerns about Jalen Hurts, health was one of them. Number one thing for me, if I see 17 games started, I'm already smitten. That's already got me feeling pretty good in Jalen Hurts, the quarterback prospect moving forward. So if I could see 16, 15, to 17 games started, I'm already feeling good because for all of the things that have been said, I like the player of Jalen Hurts. I think he's an accurate passer. I think he makes quick decisions, but they're not always the right one, albeit pulling the ball down and run, which Keith alluded to. Now, with this team, and to kind of wrap up and answer your main question, Kev, it'll be that. It'll be games played. It'll be decision making, kind of, again, what Keith was saying. And it'll be, just an overall feeling of, at the end of the year, can I look at it and go, okay, he was able to make big plays with his arm and leg. Specifically with his arm, though, because you're gonna have at least one tool, if not hopefully two tools that can really expand the field in Reagor and Smith. So, basing off of that, I want to see him spread the ball out and just move forward as a quarterback. But to give a long and short, and just to kind of echo what Keith said, for me, it's turnovers, it's decision making, and it's health. And if I can see those things, I'll probably feel good about Jalen Hurts moving forward.
I think for me, the ultimate concern I have is I expect this season to end with somewhere between 3 to 5 wins, which puts you in the top 6, 7 of draft picks. If it doesn't end with 3 to 5 wins, then Hurts played well enough to me that you don't even think about it. If you're ending with 3 to 5 wins, there is no world where he played well enough where you don't go, I want to try for a franchise quarterback. There's a reason this guy was a second-round pick. There's a reason this guy got passed over in college. There's a reason he got passed over in high school. He's got the heart and soul that we're going to love in Philadelphia, and I'm sure it's going to be a very fun year to watch him, make plays and do some amazing things. At the end of the day, I do not see this guy as a top 15 quarterback. I do not see this guy as a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but we've also got a Super Bowl with one of the worst starting quarterbacks of all time. So it happens. If you build the team around him, maybe you work it out. You're not going to have 3 first-round picks very often. You're not going to have a chance at having high first-round picks very often. And I think, you don't know what you're looking at when you get Miami and Indianapolis. They're both, playoff bubble teams. But yeah, Tom Brady is Tom Brady. Him being a 6th-round pick is irrelevant.
That's the worst and laziest sports argument in all of sports. Much less 90% of
franchise
like,
quarterbacks are first-round pick.
It's just like, yeah, you don't use it. For every Tom Brady, there was 77 failed quarterbacks that were drafted in the 6th round.
I think that number would be like 7,000.
Yeah, it's like a year. I hate the Tom Brady rule. I hate the Russell Wilson thing. Oh, Russell Wilson was. Yeah, those guys are anomalies, and I hope that Jalen Hurts is another one of those. That bucks the trend, but. Yeah,
and more importantly for me, Hurts was not only a 2nd-round pick; he shouldn't have been a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah, he was over. I mean, but hey, just to show more positive, Dak Prescott, 4th-round pick. Right. You can build teams around guys.
It does happen. It does.
It's just because they're not drafted in the 1st round doesn't mean they can't succeed.
I agree.
But it also doesn't mean they're Tom Brady.
Right.
I think that's like what everyone needs to realize.
Right.
And again, just to balance the positive and negative, he was a Heisman winner, which in my opinion, I know it doesn't, Tim Tebow is a Heisman winner, and Tim Tebow is my least favorite athlete in the world. I know it doesn't mean everything, but to me, if you win a Heisman, it shows that you have intangibles, and that's why I liked Devonta Smith, because again, it shows that you have an extra level of competitiveness. So I like that in my quarterback. I think that
you're tempting me so much.
what? What am I?
I mean, I could go over the Heisman winners of the past 20 years, and I guarantee you, I'm going to find some people that you're not going to like.
No,
Like,
I agree. Again, I'm not saying the Heisman means next to nothing in the NFL when you bring it up, but it's just. I still think that it's a feather in your cap as a prospect.
well, of course you're going to say that because Marcus Mariota was one.
No. And again, I've been wrong many a time. I'm no guru when it comes to picks or scout.
No, but I mean, but you're right. You are right because I mean, like I'm just going to read off like the past 10.
Again, I threw Tebow, so I know that there's garbage in there.
Devonta Smith, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, Johnny Manziel, RG3 and Cam Newton. And if you don't have RG3 blow out his knee because you have an irresponsible coaching decision, maybe he ends up making something of himself. But everybody other than maybe Jameis and Marcus Mariota end up having themselves, I guess Johnny Manziel as well, end up having some level of success in the NFL so far. Even Baker's had some kind of success. So you look at it, and I mean, the majority of them are going to have something. I mean, you're going to have people out there that don't, Mark Ingram, Sam Bradford, Tim Tebow, Troy Smith, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, Jason White, Carson Palmer, Crouch. So you go further back, you're seeing some more. But the general rule of thumb is right. There's something about that player that shows they have some kind of a drive, a success, some promise, something you can be positive about.
So, we'll see. Again, it's as far as the Hurts thing. I like the guy, and we'll see. I'm not. I don't. I think he's exciting, but for me, I like the accuracy. I think he was something like a 75% passer in college. I need to see arm strength. I need to see decision making, and then I'll be sold. But it's.
Joe, I got a question for Joe, who's in the chat. When was Drew Brees benched for a first-round draft pick?
Yeah, I was confused by that, so I was a little.
He's thinking bench for Phillip Rivers, but
was never benched for Phillip Rivers.
He was never. Now he hurt a shoulder, and he ended up not coming back.
And if that's supposed to point to that didn't work, Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So, no question, a Hall of Famer. Won't even be a debate when it comes up. Will absolutely be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he will. You're right, but he shouldn't.
Well, listen, whether or not we agree
I think we need to start using our eyes when we vote for Hall of Fame instead of just looking at the numbers. But yeah, he'll go in, but he doesn't deserve to.
I have a bigger problem with who's been in before him more than anything else.
Yeah.
Rivers was constantly a top 5 quarterback at this era, but whether or not that should be enough to get you in is totally
by that mark. Then McNabb should go in.
I don't disagree with that either, though.
Just again, and I'm not saying I agree or disagree with anything. I'm just saying, but because that was for all the haters that McNabb had, I said when McNabb was in his prime, he was a top 5. When it was hard to get in the top 5, you had Brady, you had Manning, you had Favre, and he was up there with them
every year.
So
for a long period of time too. And my thing is, guys have top 5 years every so often. We've seen a couple of the last couple of years, but consistently to be up there for your entire career, to me, especially with what the Hall has become. Not even become. It was always this way. It was always a joke. Everybody got in as long as you were semi-decent. Now you just have a better player pool to pick from. So, I get it. I understand that quarterbacks can come from outside the first round. You're not going to have a top 5, 6 pick very often. I don't know the quarterback class coming out. I didn't know this one until 6 months before the draft. I'll start looking at it later on. I can't look that far ahead at next year's draft, but every year it happens,
Yeah.
Every year they find 3 to 4 guys who they think are going to be a franchise quarterback, and I'm not saying whoever it is will be better than Hurts, but the way I anticipate the season going, with looking at the schedule and with looking at the roster, and you're looking at a 3-5 win team probably.
Hey, for the record, I was okay with reaching over, like going for a quarterback prospect this draft. Like,
I didn't want to do that.
It's the most important. Now, if that was now, here's the thing: did you not do it because of the actual talent that was there, or?
No, I would have been. They would have taken Fields. I would have understood. My thing with it was, after everything you did to get rid of Carson, to make Hurts your guy, you have to give him a shot.
Okay, I disagree, but I get it. I get that. Like, I can disagree with that and be like, but it's okay. Like, sometimes I disagree with things and I'm like, I can't not.
No, and I see where you're coming from too. And especially with the way this position is, like, I didn't understand Arizona doing that to Rosen after giving him no chance whatsoever. But I don't think anyone's gonna tell you it was the wrong move. Kyler Murray's clearly been a better player than Rosen ever had a chance. Rosen can't stick as a practice squad guy, so obviously it was the right move. So I get that you don't always have to give him a chance. I just think the way it went for you to do all of that, with Wentz to make to pick the quarterback in the second round, and then to turn around and lose the game on purpose, and then take a quarterback at 6, I think would have been dangerous.
Yeah,
and I think what it says to the veteran guys on your team, which is, hey, we're going to start again, is just I think then you would have saw a mass exodus. I think you would have saw guys like Graham want to go, and whether that's good for the team or not is debatable. But I think those guys would have been more inclined to go. If you guys want to do this, that's fine, but we're gonna go. We'll go try and win somewhere, because that's not what you want to do. Whether or not there would have been a quarterback at 6 worth taking, like I said, I would have understood the Fields pick.
Yeah. At least Fields has some intangibles that you might like, but
I think Fields is one of those guys who got beat up by the media. I don't think he's great, but I think they honed in on certain things they just didn't like about him, and that was their guy. And I think Chicago made a good move.
Oh, they made a very good move, because he's easily the starter right away. So
no, ain't the Red Rockets staying in.
QB1, Andy Dalton. What are you talking about?
To the point where they just said it again yesterday. I don't first of all, why are we naming quarterbacks in May? Like, just let it play out, especially when you just drafted a guy at 10.
I'm trying to find where anybody in Chicago's management is going to land afterwards, and then all I keep seeing is garbage cans. So that might be a pretty good indication of what their opinion is at this point. Because let's be honest, like, anybody who says that Andy Dalton is going to be their starting quarterback just doesn't really know the NFL, or they're just terrible liars.
Wait.
They are just terrible liars.
I will be completely honest with you. I 100% expect him to start game 1.
I don't disagree with you. I think
whether or not he should is another question.
That's my point.
See, and we talked about this a little bit earlier too, because we were talking about Lance's position in San Fran. I miss when quarterbacks didn't have to start immediately, because I think it only benefits them.
I agree. I do agree with that, but I don't think that you can. I guess that's why he's going to end up starting. And you know what? Yeah, here's what I have to say. If Chicago really thinks that they don't have a shot this year, then Andy Dalton absolutely should be starting like your next, like your first 4 or 5 games, because at that point you get a decent shot at developing your quarterback. But if you feel like you have a chance at winning this year, then maybe Fields should be starting, just to kind of get that full NFL season experience and into the playoffs, so you'll eventually lose. That's I guess the difference.
Well, we know we've gone off the rails when we're starting to break down the Chicago Bears teams.
Very true. Very true.
On that, boys, I think it's time to start to wrap it up. And any final thoughts? Anything else? Anything we missed? Any nonsense?
No.
I missed so much during this show. I got to go watch the brawl. I got to go see what's going on in the world. Are the Phillies still getting creamed? The Phillies are still getting creamed. It looks like, and we could start. You know what? We're starting the show back up. It's Washington Wizards. We got to start breaking it down. No, but the Wizards are up 124-89. Yeah. So bring on Westbrook. Like I said, gears up. It gears the Sixers up, I think, in
Russell
my
who?
opinion. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes, Joe Hunter, Pops. But yeah. Anything else tonight, guys? Anything
No,
else?
go watch. There's 2 good hockey games.
You guys
Go
have
watch
been fantastic out there in chat. You guys have been phenomenal co-hosts, helping me through a sore throat tonight, which I kept under wraps. No one even knew about it. But yeah, appreciate everyone, both live and on demand. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, War Room Philly, everywhere. Like us, facebook.com/War Room Philly, twitch.tv if you are watching us on YouTube. YouTube, just type in War Room Philly and subscribe. But guys, you have been wonderful. You've been a wonderful audience, wonderful hosts. Anything else tonight? That's it, right?
Good night, Philadelphia.
Then on that note, I am Anthony Pinto.
I'm Keith Malashevsky.
And I'm Kevin Christian.
And we are out of here.